We've all heard that humans are the most intelligent species on the planet. But could we be wrong? What if everything we know about what it means to be human is just the tip of the iceberg? For thousands of years, Homo sapiens have been the only act in town. We've ruled the earth and picked up all the trophies, but our family tree turns out to be much more tangled and surprising than we ever imagined. Did you know that the modern human species evolved in Africa around 300,000 years ago? But long before that, there were other types of humans living across the globe. Today, we're going to travel back in time to explore some of the most fascinating members of the human family tree. From a small, flightless species that looked like an oversized bird to a race of giants over 7 feet tall. You won't believe the amazing creatures that once roamed the earth. So buckle up for a wild ride through the bizarre world of human evolution. Denisovans. Denisovans are an extinct species or subspecies of archaic humans who lived in Asia and Oceania during the Lower and Middle Paleolithic. They are known from only a few fossil remains, including a finger bone and a jawbone found in Siberia and the Denisova Cave in the Altai Mountains. DNA analysis suggests they diverged from the Neanderthals somewhere between 300,000 and 500,000 years ago. The discovery of the Denisovan genome shows that they were a distinct lineage of humans alongside the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, with some geneticists suggesting that they may have contributed as much as 6% of the DNA found in modern humans in Oceania. Although little is known about their appearance and behavior, it's believed that they had a strong, muscular build adapted to cold climates and were skilled hunters and tool makers. The disappearance of the Denisovans is thought to be due to competition for resources with Homo sapiens and perhaps their inability to adapt to changing environmental conditions. Their legacy, however, lives on through their surviving DNA in modern humans. The Hobbit. Imagine being barely 3 feet tall with a big head and small body. That's exactly how you would describe Homo florensis, also known as the Hobbit. This species of human relative is named after J.R.R. Tolkien's famous book character Bilbo Baggins because of its small stature. Homo florensis lived on the Indonesian island of Flores until around 50,000 years ago. They had large brains and sophisticated stone tools, yet they were incredibly short due to a genetic mutation known as insular dwarfism. This condition occurs when animals on an island shrink in size over generations due to limited food resources. It's believed that the ancestors of the hobbits arrived on Flores more than 1 million years ago and evolved into this distinct species over time. They likely lived in caves and hunted small animals and plants. Unfortunately, not much is known about their culture or way of life. However, their discovery has shed light on the incredible diversity of human evolution and the many forms that our ancestors took throughout history. The Neanderthals. Our closest known relative is the Neanderthal, a stocky human ancestor with a receding forehead and a heavy brow ridge. They lived in Europe and parts of Asia from around 400,000 to 40,000 years ago and were skilled hunters and tool makers. In fact, Neanderthals created some of the most advanced stone tools of their time. They also had a complex social structure and may have buried their dead. Despite their strength and intelligence, the Neanderthals disappeared around 40,000 years ago, possibly due to competition for resources with Homo sapiens or because they were less adaptable to changing environments. However, recent evidence suggests that some Neanderthal genes survived in modern humans through interbreeding, meaning that we carry a part of them within us today. The red-headed Lomax. When you picture a human ancestor, you might imagine a hairy ape-like creature. But what if I told you that one of our relatives had bright red hair? Meet the red-headed Lomax, a small, flightless, bird-like human ancestor that lived in northern China about 14 million years ago. They were related to gibbons and had a big head, large eyes, and a beak. They also had feathers on their arms and legs, giving them a unique appearance among early humans. These strange creatures were nocturnal and spent their days sleeping with their mother in trees. They likely communicated using a combination of calls and gestures and were active hunters, eating mostly fruit. Their extinction is thought to be due to climate change and habitat loss, but their discovery has helped scientists better understand the evolution of early humans. The giant of Gigantopithecus. If you thought gorillas were scary, wait until you hear about Gigantopithecus, a gigantic primate that lived in India and China about 600,000 years ago. This massive creature stood over 7 feet tall and weighed more than 1,000 pounds. That's bigger than any human alive today. Gigantopithecus was covered in long black hair and had huge canines and a sagittal crest on top of its skull. It's believed that they were herbivores and spent their days eating fruit and leaves in the forest. Sadly, not much is known about their behavior or way of life since they left behind no written records and very few physical remains. Some say they disappeared due to climate change or competition for resources with other animals. Others believe that Gigantopithecus was hunted to extinction by early humans. Whatever happened, this gentle giant became extinct around 100,000 years ago, leaving us with only stories and legends of its former glory. The Irish elk. Picture a deer with the antlers of a moose. That's basically what the Irish elk looked like. This mammal lived in Europe, Asia, and North Africa until around 11,000 years ago and was one of the largest deer species ever. With its massive antlers spanning up to 12 feet wide, the Irish elk was truly a sight to behold. But these impressive growths also made them vulnerable to injury and limited their mobility. They grazed on plants and used their sharp hooves to defend against predators. However, they couldn't outrun the changing climate and eventually went extinct. Some say the Irish elk was hunted by humans for its large size and valuable antlers. Others blame its extinction on natural disasters like volcanic eruptions. But whatever the cause, this majestic creature is now gone, leaving us to wonder what other strange and wonderful animals once roamed the earth. Australopithecus afarensis. Australopithecus afarensis is an extinct species of the ape-like primates that lived in Africa between 7 and 4 million years ago. Perhaps the most famous member of this species is Lucy, whose skeleton was discovered in Ethiopia in 1974. Australopithecines were known for their small brains, ape-like faces, and human-like walks. They were generally shorter than modern humans, typically standing between 3 and 4 feet tall, and weighed around 60 to 100 pounds. They had large molars and a sagittal crest on top of their skulls where powerful muscles were attached. Despite their strength, Australopithecus afarensis was primarily a herbivore, feeding on plants and fruit. They used tools to help gather food, but were not known for hunting or butchering animals. Many scientists believe that Australopithecus afarensis was an important ancestor of the genus Homo, which includes modern humans. However, the exact relationship between Australopithecus afarensis and the genus Homo is still debated among experts. Gigantotherium. Gigantotherium is an extinct genus of semi-aquatic mammals that lived in South America during the Miocene epoch from around 23 to 5 million years ago. The name Gigantotherium comes from the Greek words gigas, meaning giant, and therion, meaning beast. And these creatures certainly lived up to their name. They were massive, reaching lengths of up to 23 feet and weighing several tons. They had long necks, short legs, and paddle-like tails, making them well-suited for life in the water. The remains of these ancient beasts have been found in Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, and Peru, providing clues to their unique lifestyle. While much of their anatomy is unknown, paleontologists believe that they were herbivorous, feeding on aquatic plants and vegetation. They likely used their size and strength to dominate the freshwater ecosystems in which they lived, preying on smaller animals and using their teeth to slice through tough water plants. Unfortunately, these gentle giants eventually went extinct, possibly due to changes in sea level or competition for resources. Did you find this video informative or enjoyable? Let me know in the comments section below. Make sure to stay tuned for more amazing content. And don't forget to like and share for more great videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.